So you're just now starting to become spiritual. You're doing your research, you're looking at books, you're reading, trying to understand. But remember that all this stuff, every text that you look at, whether it be an ancient Indian epic text, the Bible, any of it, even any type of spiritual text that you look at. I mean, you got alchemical text, you got the Bible, you got ancient Sanskrit, you got all kinds of spiritual knowledge that you can find. But here's something you're going to learn as you grow. Perspective in the moment of reading that. Like, I'm going to put some old posts that I shared. If you read these texts, if you look at it from an alchemical perspective, or like, it depends on like stages of alchemy. In the beginning stage, you're completely clueless. You have no idea what any of this really means. And if you look at it from a physical aspect, like, okay, when I first started alchemy, I wanted to make gold in the fountain of youth. And, well, these texts, if I look at them from the physical perspective, it looks like, they're drinking their pee and stuff. But when you move forward and start understanding the spiritual aspect of it, you start seeing that, like, one of them is don't drink from your own cistern, and blah blah, and drink from your own well. And if I look at that from an alchemical beginning stage physical perspective, he's drinking his pee. He's weird. If I move forward into the spiritual aspect and realized, like when Christ talked about his drink from my, he was talking about his voice, his words. So when you look at it from that perspective, now you see, look within yourself. That's what that means. Look within yourself. Don't let others poison your well. And I mean, depending on what stage you're at in your journey, I mean, that's important to look at it. So, when you read these texts, your perspective on what they mean to you depends on what stage of your spiritual journey you're on. I mean, and really, it depends. I mean, some of us go with the mechanical aspect, some of us go with the straight spiritual. And I mean, for me, I like all of it, because I mean, it all has its place. I mean, like, taking consideration things like faith healing and stuff. And from one aspect, like, someone's gonna say it's mumbo jumbo, blah blah blah. But if you read these texts and see what they're saying and how it's possible, and what, for that, I recommend looking into Bruce Lipton and the biology of belief. He was the first scientist in the States to be cloning stem cells. And that was in like the 1970s, I think. But he wrote this big book on epigenetics called The Biology of Belief. And it basically walks you through why faith healing works. By convincing the mind of something to heal itself and to heal the body. That's why it's possible. I mean, and he'll walk you through how a cell functions and everything. And it's very interesting, well, at least for me, because to see it from his aspect as a scientific one, You get to see, not only is it going to move you more into being accepting of things like faith healing. Some people need that proof, if you will, to say that it is possible. Others don't. To each their own. I mean, this is all our own individual journey. And I mean, so when you start learning and studying and searching, keep that in mind, because everyone's going to have their own journey, and they're going to have their own ways of doing things, and that's really a really important part of your journey, is to do it your way. That way, it's because it's your journey, it's not anybody else's. I mean, and people are going to tell you stuff, and I mean, people are going to think you're fucking insane just for being spiritual. It's ridiculous. I mean, and they have no right, but they're gonna. So whatever, ignore them. But it's really important that when you go and you start doing deep dives and start reading this stuff, just because you read it that way the first time, give it a year or two and then dive back in, and it's going to mean something completely different, because your mind and your understanding of your journey has grown. So I mean, it's and I mean, from my own perspective, I mean, I've like, when I first read these texts, you know, I thought they were really literal. They were definitely, you know, they were making gold. And, you know, when you find that you're the gold in this journey, and you are alchemically or mystically or religiously creating the perfect version of yourself for you, not for anybody else, that's really important. But some of us don't find that out right away. And I mean, and it's a fun journey. You know what I mean? You have fun with it. I mean, I really enjoyed the physical aspects of learning all the stuff as a physical aspect. And I mean, it expanded my mind heavily. And when you start expanding your mind, people are gonna, like, when you realize, because I mean, especially on here, you'll see people telling you that you are God. And when you come to that realization of what that means, they're not telling you that you're God of the universe. They're telling you that you're God of yourself. And when you start repeating that, especially with your friend groups or even on social media, stuff like that, people are going to convince themselves that you think you're God. You think you're above all of us. And I mean, you don't. But I mean, people get offended. So it is what it is. But when these other creators are telling you that you're God, they're talking about the one within you, the life force, because God's in everything. So it is within you. There's no that's just how it is. I mean, that's what Christ talked about, that's what Krishna talked about, that's what Buddha talked about, is your inner self. And the alchemical process is to take the outer self and the inner self and combine them. And I mean, that really is, that's the thing, is alchemy, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, all of them really have this journey. And I mean, to be honest, I suggest you look into all these books. They're very interesting and very mind-blowing and very enlightening. And keep them, because I mean, like I said, in a year or two, you look back at it and you're like, that means something completely different. I never saw that aspect of it. And it's all about your perception. And I mean, it's a journey. I mean, you're gonna see some or have some crazy ideas, and just let them evolve, let them grow, let them happen, and you'll enjoy it. And know that, like, you're forever growing in this. The process is never really finished, because perfection is in the eye of the beholder, and you're never going to find yourself as being the perfect self. You're always going to want to continue to grow. And like I said, that's why it's good to look at these texts and stuff, because they change, like, just because you changed. So they evolved just like you did, and now they mean something completely different. So definitely in your journey, realize that it is an evolution. And in the beginning, I mean, we don't know. And that's one of the biggest reasons it's important to fail. It's one of the biggest reasons it's important to not be, because you're gonna fail, and you need to realize that you don't know everything, because we don't. We're always continuously learning new things, is what it is. And I mean, if you think you're a master, you definitely have more work to do, because you're never gonna complete the process. I mean, I think the final process is death and getting to go to the next place. And for me, I mean, I see that, and I've always wanted to understand it from a deeper perspective, but that's another video, I think. I think I did one previous to that, talking about, because the vortex in your chest, your electromagnetic field, and yada yada, different video. But you're forever evolving. You're always going to continue to grow. Just know that in the beginning, you're probably going to misinterpret things. You're going to do it wrong. But you're supposed to. That's part of the journey. And I mean, so when you look at these old texts and stuff, like, I'm going to show you some at the end, but your goal is yours. Like, whatever idea you have about it, that will interpret how you read it and what it means to you. Like I said in the beginning, I was mechanical and physical. I wanted to understand the physical aspects of it, and completely overlooked the spiritual aspect of what it was. And some of these texts, when looked at from that perspective, I mean, it looks like they're drinking pee and stuff. But in reality, when you finally start, like I said, read them once, look at them from one perspective, grow a little bit, read them again, and you're going to be surprised at how much that book that is thousands of years old in that year changed for you, just because of your perspective. And know that your perspective is forever growing, and it's always going to change, and that you're always evolving in this process. You're always going to be growing, changing, new ideas, all this stuff. And Don't be afraid to get it wrong either. I mean, it happens to all of us. And I mean, that's how you figure it out, is you get it wrong and be like, oh, okay, now I can. So, I mean, have fun, grow, learn, joy. And I mean, when you're doing your deep dives in these texts, remember that, like, if I read that text, it would mean something completely different to me than it did to you. That's what's amazing about these texts, is just your perspective. One little change in your perspective, and it means something completely different to the next person. So, I mean, remember that. I mean, if it means something to you and something different to another person, you're both at different levels in your journey. That's the only real difference, because the text is the same. The words never change. They've been the same for thousands of years. In reality, it's just the observer's perception. And that's like because when you're in charge of creating your own reality and you don't realize it, like, that's how it is. I mean, because that's the inner God looking out. Your reality is completely different from the next person's. Your perspective, how you view things, your viewpoints on anything, your ideology, like, you're going to see something that somebody else doesn't see. And I mean, they may never see what you see, but if you see it, it's there. And that's how, like, your realities are different. We live in the multiverse and don't comprehend that, you know, each individual has their own perspective of things, and you're going to grow. So take that grain of salt and let it simmer, I guess. But know that everyone has their own perspective, and they're allowed to. And don't get offended by people when they try and tell you their perspective just because it's different from yours. That is how they view it, because that is what their life has created for them to see. You know? Does that make sense? And we all have a different life. Most of us had not a perfect life and such, but so take that too. I mean, don't get upset with people when they try and share themselves with you. Just because their viewpoint's different doesn't mean that they are trying to disagree with you or tell you you're wrong. They're just trying to share their perspective. And I mean, their perspective was created by the life that they lived, and your life was your perspective was created by the life that you lived. And they're not always going to be identical. They don't have to be. I mean, if your ideology is here and someone else, you're just at different levels in the journey of understanding. I mean, we're all in this shit together. I mean, we are. So, I mean, to get upset about someone's viewpoint is different than yours, there's no point in it. I mean, unless they're like hateful people and stuff, then like, you should probably just get that away from you anyway. But it's your journey, man. And know that you're going to grow, and these texts are going to evolve and change just like you do. Thanks for listening. Have a good day, man.